All right. Very, very good to see you, Pauline, and welcome to Soft Skills Conversations. Like we were saying before we went on camera, this is where we have informal but informative conversations. And with me today, I am very excited to have Pauline Mbugua. I'll allow Pauline to introduce yourself, but I will make sure I mention that you are my college roommate in case you forget to say that, because I went through the whole of college with you as my roommate, which has some good memories right there. It was actually a prayer answered, but let's not even go into that. I was very frightened about who would be my roommate in campus. You know how you're in high school and you hear all these horror stories of your roommate will come drunk and all that. So I was really praying, I hope I get somebody nice to be my roommate. And I didn't remember that prayer until we had finished college. So you know that story already. So everybody watching, I am with Pauline Mbugua here. Pauline, maybe you
Yeah.
introduce yourself by just telling us a little background of who you are.
Thank you, Christine. My name is Pauline Gathuri Mbugua. Many people know me as Pauline Gathuri. I added the next name, Mbugua. Some people also know me as that, so I prefer to use the three of them. So I just want to say a very, very good afternoon, or is it good morning, to all our listeners. And very nice to connect with you, Christine. Yeah, as Christine has said, we go back a long, long way. When we were young girls, campus, first year, and let me not say fate, let me say God. God put us together as roommates. And Christine, did you realize how lucky we were? That, because people used to be shuffled every year, but for us, we never got shuffled. And
Yes, yeah, we
for
stayed,
the
yeah.
whole period, we actually remained roommates. And Christine was a wonderful blessing to me. I would say a gift from God. So thank you.
Asante.
And we've since been friends many years after campus. We've still maintained our friendship. And it is really nice to connect with you again, Christine. So just to maybe tell you a little about, to tell our listeners a little about myself, I have had the privilege of working in the corporate world for over 20 years now. And basically in the corporate world, I have learned a lot of lessons. 20 plus years of experience is not a short period. And I think for me, one of the most amazing experience I have acquired during my working life is on the strategic planning process. Every company, you know, Christine, every corporate organization, even the governments, they actually do what we call the strategic planning, or they have a vision. They have the vision, you know, Kenya Vision 2020. So in the corporate world, the strategic plan is a very important exercise. You actually almost like close the company, go away for a week, the senior managers, the board members, and you come up with a strategy or a vision that is going to direct that organization for the next 5 years. And I think for me, that was one of the things that I kept asking myself. What would happen if we took our lives this seriously? You know, to actually draw a vision for your own life for the next 5 years, what would happen? So it's an experiment I did. And I thank God because most of the things that I drew in that vision 5 years ago, I have achieved them. And I thank God for that. And for that reason, Christine, actually, that is why now this spoke to my other passion. I have a passion for children, for young people, for teenagers. I have actually been teaching children and young people for the last like 15 years now on a voluntary basis in my church and also in one of the global Bible study fellowship group. So I love working with children. I love teaching children. I love impacting children and the next generation. Because Christine, I don't know whether you agree with me, the highest goal or the highest legacy or the highest thing you can actually do with your life is to teach the next generation something you know. Yeah, So in other words, so I'm just explaining that Pauline I work in the corporate world. I also have a passion for children. I love teaching children. And that is how Power of Vision was born.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Two come to my mind. One, you have said about the strategic planning process of organizations that you work for and how you have been part of this experience as top management. And I'm interested to know how that trickles down to the rest of the staff. Does everybody, because management goes away and comes up with a strategic plan. So how does that get disseminated to the rest of the staff so that all of us are pulling in the same direction? But before we even go to that, you talked about young people. And in your introduction, it might be for us to know if you have any children, because that's something you and I have common. We're both mothers. So please tell us about your own family.
Yeah, thank you, Christine. How could I forget? I hope they don't hear me. Yes, I am married to Mr. Mbugua, and God has blessed me. I'm a happy mother of twins, Angel and Gabriel. So people call them Angel Gabriel. And that is one thing, yes, Christine, I thank God we share with you because you're also a mother of twins. Okay. So some of the tips of how to bring up my kids came up from you.
Whoa, okay. That's one thing I always say to myself, actually on quite a very serious note. We never get prepared for being parents. We never qualify. It's not, for me, it's the most fearsome responsibility, because any actions that I take have got such far-reaching consequences on the lives of another person who really did not ask to be in my family. I remember when I first became a mother, when my twins were put in my arms, my first reaction was great dread and fear. I was like, how am I responsible for this person? For me, it's a responsibility that I take very seriously, very fearfully. So I can understand that you would want to dedicate your time and your effort to wanting to grow the lives of children. Now, let's go back to what you said. You talked about you've been part of the strategic planning process, and so you decided to make a strategic plan for yourself. Are you able to give us an example or two of some of the things that happened during the 5 years, so that then we're able to relate?
Okay, thank you, Christine. Maybe even before I answer that question, Christine, just allow me to just tell people how, having a vision for your life is so crucial. In fact, I always say it's one of the single most important thing you'll ever do in your life. Why? Because vision basically gives you direction. And maybe just to see, to borrow from the corporate world, from governments, even from the public institutions, yeah? You'll find that even governments have a vision, Vision 2030. The church you go to has a vision where they want to be in the next 5 years. Do you know even the supermarket you shop, they have a vision. The school that maybe your children go to, where the children go to school, they have a vision. So every organization that is worth its salt has a vision, and it is central to that organization. It's what guides that organization in all the decisions they make. And so even when you come now to, because one of the sad things I noted is that we actually don't have personal vision. Very rarely, just Christine, do that experiment. I did it with my friends, with my colleagues. Just ask somebody, what is your personal vision? Or what is your vision for the next 3-4 years? Do you know many people can't answer that question?
Expose myself here. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm a business person and I have a dream and a goal of where I want to be. Is that what you're calling a vision?
Yes, yes. That is actually it. Yeah. You have a dream, you have a goal of this is where I want to be in the next 2 years, 3 years. That's a personal vision. And they always say it's better if it's written down. So, so for me, I think, Christine, that's what I would say. That is my driving force. And as I told you, when we go to our mentorship program, I'll tell you that our vision is actually to empower and inspire 1 billion people in the next 2 years, so that they are able to draw a vision for their lives and live it. Just that simple.
Okay, so what does the process of drawing up my personal vision look like? I suppose that you're borrowing from the strategic planning process in an organization. But if I
Mm,
wanted to draw my vision, first of all, does my
mm,
vision change? Because I assume that my dreams and plans keep on changing. For example, I want to have this,
mm.
I admire something else, I want to have this. Does it stay rigid for 5 years?
Okay. No, it doesn't stay rigid, Christine, but basically just to give a very small, just a brief of how by the way, in my YouTube channel, the sessions we've done,
Mm.
somebody can actually visit our channel and they can be able to, we've taken people through a very, elaborate step by step on how to actually come up with your personal vision. Now, I came up with a simpler way of doing it because when you talk about, strategy, when you talk about vision, it sounds all very, very complicated. Eh? So, there's something I came up with called a vision tree. And if you allow me, can I pick it? It's
Oh,
just in my
yes, please. I
background.
would love to see it. I would love to see it.
Oh, okay, thank you, Christine. So this is what we actually call it the vision tree. In a very simple way, I just tell people, just draw a tree. You don't have to do a very complicated thing. You just take a manila paper, draw a tree, make sure you have the leaves, the
Mm.
branches with fruits on it, and make sure you can see the roots of the tree. So in this area of the fruits, you come up with a goal, your personal goal.
Okay.
I always say work with 3 years
Mm.
and in 7 areas of your life: spiritual, social, family, financial, academics, or career, and then legacy. Your legacy, what will you leave in this world? What will be your legacy? So in those 7 years, you come up with your goals. A goal is just your desired life,
Okay.
maybe in 3 years, like 2024. How do you desire your family life to be? Get a picture, a photo that is inspiring you, and put it there. How do you desire your financial life to be?
Okay.
How do you desire your academic? And then put those pictures there. Those are your fruits. Your desires in the next 3 years are your fruits. Then you come to the root area. For every tree to produce fruits, you need to feed the roots because the roots need nutrients and water.
True.
So now ask yourself, this is my financial goal in 2024, 3 years. So what do I need to feed this tree so that I get that fruit? If it's my social life, this is my goal. What do I need to feed my tree to be able to get that fruit? So this, I find, makes it easier so that you know it's a tree, you have the fruits, and what do you need to feed the tree on so that you're able to get your fruit.
Wow. Okay. So let's take examples. Let's take examples so that now, if, for example, I have just finished school and my dream is possibly to buy this car or to buy this house. Those tend to be the ambitions of young people coming out of school and all. So, what
Mm,
would be examples of actions that because I'm assuming that on the route,
mm,
when you say, what am I feeding the route, that will have to be the actions I need to take to get the
yes.
desired goal. So, what
Mhm.
examples of those?
Of I want to own a house.
Yes,
Maybe I'm a young person, have just finished campus. I have a job, I assume.
possibly. Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
So I have a job, and in 3 years' time, this is my goal. I want to drive this car. So number one, I'll look for the car that I want to drive, a picture that will motivate me. When I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's my car. Then I'll put the picture there. And then I have this job. Christine, it's very strange. There's a study that we once did in where I work, and we're looking at the spending habits of young people. And you'll be shocked, like 70% of their money where it goes. So if I'm a young person and I have this goal, when it will actually guide my actions. So if it's somewhere I'm going to, money, okay, spending money, I'll be careful. If I need to go entertainment, I will not go full blast and, waste all my money on entertainment because I have this goal. But if I didn't have the goal, what would happen? Enjoy, and, forget. But because I have this goal, yes, I'll enjoy, but it will control how I'm using my money. Maybe I'll join the circle in the office, where I work, or maybe I'll think now I need to start a side hustle, something small that I can manage during my free time, so that I create extra income that then I can put towards my car. So you can see how that is coming. So it's helping me control my spending habits. And at the same time, so which I'll put there, and at the same time, maybe I need to look for another stream of income so that then I'm able to afford this car. Maybe I need to join a circle so that after 3 years, or is it that 2 years, I'm able to take a loan, which I can use for buying the car. Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting. I'm reminded of the gym that I go to has got this all over. You can't avoid reading it. It's all over the gym. It says that a dream without, I think a dream without action is just a wish. So that just tells you it's the same point you're making, that I can sit down and wish, have this whim, I would like to buy this, I would like to live here, I would like to travel here. But if I'm not putting any actions behind it, it's nothing other than just a wish. So I can completely relate with. I'm not very sure that this is for young people, because even as adults, sometimes we need direction. We need direction completely. So maybe we can go back into what gave you this passion, especially for young people. How did this passion get birthed in your spirit?
Okay, the passion for young people, I don't know, maybe it's something I have, Christine, because as I've told you, I've been teaching children on voluntary basis for the last 15 years. I just thank God I'm somehow able to connect with young people and to connect with children. Actually, do you know it's easier to teach young people and children something than you and me? Yeah. Because for us, we are so set in our ways and what we know, and why should I change now?
Yes, as we grow older, we become very rigid in the things we know. We become very stiff. We become not very teachable, because we get stuck in our ways. Like, this is how we do it. So why are you trying to change? I'm aware that the older we are, the more difficult. The reason I'm laughing is when I'm interviewing, when I'm hiring people, I would always tend to avoid people above 40, because I always say they never change their minds, they never learn anything new. So I figure that's me now. That's
so I think it's easier when a young person and the children, because then, as long as it makes sense to them and it's easy to understand and they can see the reason, the why, I think they are more open to trying something.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. So my passion, I think, has been, teaching children, and also the teenagers in my family. I've been, this auntie who gets them together, talks to them about their future, and it's so encouraging when you actually talk to a young person, you guide them, you give them these ideas, and then they go and adopt it, and then they are so excited, and they're telling you, wow, this actually works. And there's a niece of mine who really challenged me when I started, sharing with them some of this information that I'm now sharing through the power of vision. And she challenged me and asked me, she's actually in campus. She asked me, Auntie, have you ever thought of sharing with other young people the messages that you share with us? Wow. So I thought, yeah, I actually need to share it with all the young people who can access it. Yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Actually, that already answers to my next question, which would have been, what have been some of your success stories? Maybe you can give us some success stories, some specific incidences that have happened through your teaching, and how these young people have come up.
Okay. Thank you, Christine. So when now maybe I'm all over the place, Christine.
No,
So the power of
it's
vision
fun.
now, because
Very informal.
of what I know, because of what now I know about vision and how having this goal that you're working towards and having your vision tree and you put it next to your bed and you see it in the morning, you see it in the evening, you pray over it, your goals. So I started asking myself, is this information that would benefit young people? Because one of the biggest, the heaviest thing on my heart, and I believe even on your heart, Christine, on parents, generally for most of us, are some of the very, very big and challenges that young people are going through these days. And for me, I think there are some two statistics I came across that, my heart was heavy for a long time. And I was asking myself, what can I do to make a difference in these young people? Because most young people, they seem so lost. They don't know what to do. And in the course of even like guiding and mentoring my nieces and nephews, I discovered these are standard challenges facing many young people. Christine, I don't know whether you'd allow me to just give you a snapshot of some of the statistics. Yeah?
By all means, by all means.
Yeah, so one of the statistics that I came across, and I'll start with a quote. Somebody shared a quote with me. And that quote, Christine, stayed with me for a very long time. That was before we started the World Messenger classes.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody told, the quote goes like this. The sad fact of life is that many of the consequences of errors made during teenage years last a lifetime. But the sad fact of life is that many of the consequences of errors made during teenage years last a lifetime. So you can imagine this young teenager, Christine, has made an error, and for the next, until they are 70 years old, they are still living with the consequences of that error. Then when I looked at some of the statistics that are affecting young people right here in our country, data, I looked at this report that is data from the demographics and health surveys in Kenya, which show that 2 out of 10 girls between the ages of 15 and 19 fall into teenage pregnancies. So that's 20%, Christine, of our girls. 20% of these girls. And by the way, that statistics was between 2014 and 2019. In 2020, we all know what happened. The figure shot up by 40%. The statistics actually show that figure shot up by 40%. But the sad thing is that what this does, it deprives our young girls of an education, because many of them drop out of school. And, it also introduces them to a life of poverty, unless something is done to salvage that girl from that situation. Many of them fall into, a cycle of poverty that can then go on in that family. And the World Health Organization statistics also show that the leading cause of death among girls between age 15 and 19 globally is actually related to adolescent pregnancy. So it's not just a matter of the girls missing out on opportunities, but also death. It's the leading cause of death for that age group. You can imagine.
Is the
now
attempted abortion or complications with the pregnancy or all of the above?
Yes. Okay, the statistics from the World Health Organization does not, this is for 2020, yeah? The statistics is dated 31st January 2020. By the way, our listeners can Google and get those statistics.
Yes.
Then there is another study, a very scary study, Christine. For me, this one, wow, my stomach was turning up. This is a report by NACADA. We all know NACADA. And this report is dated 2019. And what the report says, this research was carried out on primary school pupils. So these are pupils below 14 years, And it reported that 36.3% of these children were already abusing alcohol. 36% of them. And 31% they were on Mera cards. 20% they were smoking cigarettes frequently. 9% were on Bangi.
Oh my God.
And 3% on heroin. This was carried out in Nairobi. These are primary school children. Okay? And of course, we all know, we've all seen on the TV, on the newspapers about the rate of suicide among teenagers, among young people. Christine, is such a sad thing. As a parent, I think the saddest thing is if you witness a young person committing suicide. You know, this person has a whole life ahead of them, but they've gotten to a point where they feel it's not worth living anymore. I think that is very, very, very sad. So for me, Christine, I think that is what did it for me. You look at that statistics and you keep asking yourself, what can I do as a person? What, you feel very inadequate, but you ask yourself, what can I do? Is it, and three things happened that pushed me to start the Power of Vision. The first one, Christine, is Wangari Maathai's story. Oh, okay, her life. We all know Professor Wangari Maathai, the late, the Nobel Prize winner. There's a story Wangari used to give about the weaver bird. And she used to say that there was a fire in the forest and all the animals were standing by. And then the weaver bird just told the animals, I think I have an idea. Why don't we get water from the stream here and pour it on the fire? And it started making, to and fro journeys to the stream and getting a little water, pouring it on the fire. Now, unfortunately, Wangari didn't finish that story, so we don't know whether the weaver bird succeeded in putting off the fire. But she always used to say,
I think I
but she always used to, you've heard it, eh? Yeah. She always used to say, each one of us has that little thing that you can do to make a difference in your society. And she used to conclude by saying, my little thing is planting trees. So I thought, as Wangari used to tell us, I can do a little thing of just teaching the young people the power of vision. If they are able to draw a vision for their lives, it has actually shown that a teenager who has a vision, it's easier for them to resist temptation than a teenager who doesn't. A teenager who has no vision, no goal, Christine, they are such an easy play to any temptation that comes, because anything that sounds like fun, they just join. But a teenager who is guided and has a vision and they have a goal of, I want to become this in my life, I want to achieve this, I want to go to the university, that child is actually able to resist most of the temptations that will come during that very difficult time of their lives. The third, something that happened to me, that the second incident was the Wealth Messenger class, where Christine invited me to this wonderful, life-changing class. And I always remember the challenge. What is it you know that you can teach another person? What is this you have, maybe it's some information or a skill you have that you can then teach the next person, that you can benefit somebody else in the world. And I think that is what finally pushed me off the cliff of thinking too much, and I started the Power of Vision. Wow. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to put your link, a link to how you can contact Pauline. We're going to get into this just now. I'm going to ask how is it you reach to people. But before we get to that one, what would be your advice to parents? Because the statistics you're talking about are scary. I'm a parent and you are too. So first of all, we think from the point of view of a parent. What would you advise us parents? What can we do to help our teenagers, to help our children?
Yeah, as you said, Christine, being a parent is something you're not trained before. There's no school, but you learn on the job. But that doesn't mean, but I thank God, because I think God equips us, and somehow we are able to do it. But we have, I think for me, what I would advise, we have to purposely, and when I'm talking of parents, Christine, I'm not just talking about your children, that I'm only going to guide my 2 children or my 3, 4 children, because your children need to interact with other children, they need to those are their age mates. So I always say, as every child who God brings within your circle of influence, treat them like your child. What can we do? For me, I always advocate for the power of vision. Help this child. Just start simply and ask them, by the way, do you have a vision for your life? What do you want to, don't let them tell you, oh, when I grow up, I want to go to the moon. No, that is too far off. Just tell them, in the next 2 or 3 years, where would you want to be? How would you want your life to have turned out? Let them dream. My children are very good in dreaming. So let them tell you, in 2 years, if somebody is about to get to secondary, or they're in class, maybe 6, 7, then when you ask them that question, the first thing that you should guide them on, what school do you want to go to? So if you want to go to, for example, Kenya High, how many marks do you think you need to get for you to get to Kenya High? Go online, Google even the uniform of that Kenya High, or Google their school, their gates. Put that in the child's power of vision. The tree, you can create a tree of vision, a vision tree for your child. Put the picture there, and then talk to their teacher. You can organize with their teacher and let the teacher even guide the child that if you want to go to this school, this is what you need to do. You need to put more effort in your subjects. You help them maybe come up with a study program where they are now able to be guided. And in their mind, that vision of I want to go to Kenya High will guide them to maybe work towards that goal. Okay. If they want to become an engineer, there are some children, by the way, Christine, you'll agree with me, as a parent, you know the strengths of your child very early. There are some skills you can, when you're bringing up children, you just know this one, she's an engineer. She likes putting things apart and seeing how they are made. And, this one is very good in this area. So maybe you can even guide them. What do they want to become? Then guide them and tell them, if you want, as early as when they're still in primary school, you want to become an engineer, or you want to become, I don't know what the career, this social media, what are they called? The people who technology. Technology now is a very exciting career for them. And guide them and tell them, then you need to work hard so that when finally you aim for university, when you go to university, you're able to do this course, and then you can then be able to travel the world or be able to achieve this that you want. If you want to start your own business, then these are some of the things you need to do. So for me, Christine, I always say that one of the things, and I know it's very powerful in a child, and I know you'll ask me how I know, because it happened in my own life. And that's actually the story of my book, which I know you'll talk about at the end. How I always say, Christine, how I got there to campus and met you, it's not because if you look at all the girls I grew up with in my village, I don't think I was the brightest, but I had a mother who really was very good in them, selling to me a vision, a bigger vision. And she used my auntie who used to work in the bank. Not that he used her to talk to me. I had an auntie who used to work in the bank. She used to be very well dressed, smart, driving a car. And when we were in the shamba with my mother, she would always ask me, do you love this work, Pauline? I'm like, no. Do you want a life like Auntie Kellen? And I'm like, yeah. Because me, I would want to live in the city, come and visit the village, driving my own car. She tells me now, education is your ticket out of here. So if you want that life in the city, to be like Auntie Kellen and, work in the bank, drive a car, live in Nairobi, have children who are talking English. Education is your ticket. So, Christine, I always say that was such a powerful vision that my mother sold to me. And just to give a small analogy, now in the village, I also had other girls. And you know, it's very strange that 5 of us in the entire village, we were visiting each other. Those were my friends. Those are the ones we influenced. You know, we had the same vision of getting to campus, working in Nairobi, living here. You know, all of us went to campus.
Wow.
And we were not the brightest. Now, I always ask parents, I always say my own example. If, for example, there was a boy in the village trying to tune me and wanted to marry me at that early age, do you think I would have fallen for that? No, because he's trying to tell you he's going to marry you, and you can see this guy wants to take me to his shamba. I don't want that life, you know, of digging his shamba. Me, I'm going very far. I don't have time for this. So I think that is where I was saying, Christine, when you have a vision, when a child has a vision, that vision guides them and actually helps them overcome a lot of temptations which so many other people, other children will fall for. Because during my time, there are so many girls just after primary school, they went and got married. But for me, that was not an attractive option because this guy would just marry me and take me to Hishaba to dig for him. So I had a better plan, you see. So it doesn't matter which sweet words you used, they didn't have any effect on me. So that is where I was saying, when a child has a vision, Christine, that vision guides that child. That vision will also guide that young person. If they have this vision and somebody is tempting them to maybe experiment with drugs, they will be able to resist that more than a child who really is lost, doesn't have anywhere they are heading, and they're just trying anything that looks like fun. So for me, I think I would really advocate as a parent and any your nieces, nephews, children in church, anybody you come across, just find out, do they have a vision? Can you help them create a vision for their lives?
Wow. I'm learning a lot myself, and I'm not even a teenager. I'm going to put the link to your video channel down here. So if you want to follow Pauline Mbugua, I'm putting a link down below this video, so that you're able to hook up with her. I'll put all her contact details. I hope that's okay with you, Pauline, that I would share.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine, Christine.
Whether these people be parents or they be children, because I really think you're onto a great thing. I wish you all the best. It was a great privilege for me to have you come in our class, Wealth Messenger. You actually came in at the very beginning. We have since done 8 different classes. We are now running the 8th class.
Wow, you've gone to class 8 now, to 8 classes.
Yeah, and we have a big number. Right now we have a huge class. I think we have over 25 people in the class. So the message is really going out there. I am very humbled to have been in the middle of this and seeing how people's lives are touched. So I'm going to put my contact details at the bottom if anybody wants to come on the Wealth Messenger program. It's really a great program that teaches you over 6 weeks how to position, how to package, and how to promote yourself as an expert in your field. And as you can see, Pauline has been able to grow her power of vision dream and have it become fruitful. Now, you are talking about the book that is almost coming out, and I'm very excited now. Pauline and I have co-authored this book along with other ladies, and we're really very excited. It's just about to come out. It's in the last stages of publication. Maybe you tell us a bit about yours.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. I think I really owe you, I don't know what I owe you, a very, very big debt. I'm so grateful to you. Even thinking about me, because Christine just called me and told me, Pauline, there's this class that we are starting called Wealth Messenger. It was during COVID. If it wasn't during COVID lockdown last year, maybe I would have said, I'm very busy, Christine, you know, I have so many things, I can't be able to come. But I thank God I was able to join that class at the invitation of Christine. And that's where I met Jeffrey, our the person who is guiding us in that Power of Vision. And I'm surprised, Christine, that now you're already in the 8th group from ours. Ours was the first one. And for me, I think the biggest challenge I got from that class is Geoffrey doesn't take you softly. You know, he actually goes bare knuckles, and he tells you there's so much you have gained in your life in terms of experience, in terms of knowledge. What will happen with all that information and knowledge and skills you have when your life is normal? You know, for me, by then, there's one night I didn't sleep very well, because I was thinking, yeah, there's these skills you have acquired, there's knowledge that can make a difference in somebody else's life, but what happens when your life ends? All that goes down to the drain. As Myers Monroe used to say, you'll just take it to the grave. And so the challenge was and with the pushing of Geoffrey, we actually came up together. We are 12 ladies.
We're 13. We're 13 in total.
13 wonderful ladies. You know, everybody with their own story, with their own, you know, something that can actually make a very big impact in the world. And we have co-authored a book. I am so excited and waiting for it. I think this for me is a dream come true. And I can't wait, Christine, I can't wait for it to be launched. And then we can share it with our listeners.
All right, beautiful. I too look forward to it. I too look forward to it being launched and all that. And we're going to be making a lot of noise about it. I can promise that. But maybe you give us what's the title of your part of the book? What's the title of your book? Is it The Power of Vision? I want to assume it's The Power of Vision.
Yes, The Power of Vision for the Next Generation.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. We look forward to that, and maybe you and I can come here and actually hold up the book and have a discussion about the specific book. But Pauline, this has been a great pleasure. This has been such a great pleasure. Like I said, I'm going to share your contact details for anybody who might want to reach out to you, but maybe just your closing comments as we bring this to an end.
Thank you so much, Christine. So just to maybe challenge, for me, it's a question. I would want to ask anybody listening to us, Christine, do you have a personal vision for your life for the next 3 years? If you're a mother, like Christine said, me and you, or a father, or an auntie, an uncle, the children in your life, do they have a personal vision for the next 3 years? If somebody asks them, what's your vision for the next 3 years? Can they answer that question? I think, Christine, for me, that would be my parting shot. And just tell people that kindly have a vision and make it very simple. Don't complicate it. Draw a vision tree. If you want to be guided on how to do that, visit our YouTube channel, Power of Vision for the Next Generation. Then put your goals here in the 7 areas. You want to be balanced, in the 7 areas: spiritual, social, family, financial, all those, and legacy, what legacy you leave. And then now ask yourself, what do I need to do to achieve this? Just draw that vision tree, put it next to your bed, pray over it, morning, evening, look at it. And I tell you, Christine, after 3 years or even 1 year, I would want people to come back and give us a testimony of what that would have done to their lives. It's very, very powerful.
Beautiful. I think the next time we have this, we should invite a few young people who've been through your training and who've learned from you how to create a vision. And let's hear from them what the effect has been on their lives. I think that would be powerful to inspire other young people. So, Pauline, thank you so much. I look forward to another discussion with you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. And thank you to our listeners.
All right, then. Bye-bye.